While most kids were out racing door to door in search of candy, laughter, and that familiar crunch of fallen leaves, some spent Halloween behind hospital walls. But this year the celebration found its way to them. At C.S. Mott Children's Hospital in Ann Arbor, Michigan, nurses and volunteers decided that no child would miss the magic of Halloween. Not even those tethered to IV poles or recovering from surgery. The hum of machines mixed with giggles and the rustle of candy wrappers as rooms turned into tiny trick-or-treat stations. In those moments, hospital hallways became neighborhoods, and Courage looked a lot like a kid in a superhero cape, smiling through the glow of orange paper lanterns. Down the bright hallways of C.S. Mott, the annual room-to-room parade began. Doctors, nurses, and volunteers dressed in everything from pirates to princesses pushed carts overflowing with treats and costumes. Each doorway opened to a burst of color, balloons, laughter, and IV poles wrapped with orange ribbons like festive trees. A nurse knelt beside a little girl wearing a sparkly crown, handing her a tiny pumpkin-shaped bucket, while the child's parents wiped away tears behind grateful smiles. Reporter Megan Daniels, who joined the celebration, described the moment as pure joy breaking through the beeps of hospital monitors. For a few hours, the hospital wasn't a place of procedures and recovery. It was a place where childhood returned, one smile at a time. For parents, the sight of their children smiling again felt like something close to a miracle. Melanie Hines, whose daughter has spent weeks in the ICU enduring repeated surgeries, described the day as a breath of normal life returning. "It helps so much because it's stressful being in the ICU," she said softly, holding back tears. Having some normalcy brought back, it means everything. For her and so many others, this wasn't just about candy or costumes. It was about hope, about being reminded that even inside the walls of a hospital, joy can still find its way in. Balloons replaced beeping monitors. Laughter echoed down sterile corridors, and for a moment, families got to forget the weight of medicine and remember what childhood feels like. For many parents, this wasn't just Halloween. It was a glimpse of life beyond the machines. The sparkle in the kids' eyes came from more than just candy. It came from transformation. Thanks to Spirit Halloween's annual donation program, carts rolled through the hospital filled with superhero capes, princess crowns, and tiny pumpkin buckets waiting to be claimed. Suddenly, IV lines turned into costume accessories, and wheelchairs became parade floats. Tom Bauman, a zone manager at Spirit Halloween, watched parents smile as their children picked out costumes. "This is the greatest day of our season," he said. "We get to take the burden off the parents, let them come in and pick out a costume. It's just wonderful." Around him, joy was contagious. Nurses clapped, parents took photos, and the hospital hallways glowed brighter than ever. One costume at a time, they replaced fear with laughter and turned a hospital floor into something far more magical than anyone expected. In one room, Matthew Bolton watched his son smile for the first time in months. After endless days surrounded by machines, that single grin felt like sunrise after a long winter. "Seeing him now compared to what he was 2 months ago is a totally different kid," Matthew said, his voice shaking with relief. "Those 4 walls close in on you pretty quick." Until today. For his family, Halloween wasn't just a holiday. It was a sign that healing had truly begun. His son, now wearing a tiny superhero cape, reached for a candy bar and laughed, the sound echoing down the hall like a heartbeat of hope. But the joy didn't stop with the kids. Behind every smile and costume stood a mission that went far deeper than decoration. Luann Thomas Ewald, president of C.S. Mott Children's Hospital, summed it up simply. "Our goal is to make sure that they can still be a kid." In those words lived the heart of the hospital's philosophy. That healing isn't only about medicine, but about joy, love, and laughter woven into care. Doctors may treat the body, but moments like these nourish the spirit. The staff knew that sometimes recovery begins not with a prescription, but with a giggle behind a mask or a child pretending to fly down the hallway. Within those bright walls, medicine met humanity, and together they built a kind of hope that no illness could ever take away. As the last trick-or-treat cart rolled down the hallway, The echoes of laughter lingered long after the candy bags were emptied. Nurses waved goodbye to each child, volunteers collected their empty baskets, and parents held on to the warmth of what they had just witnessed. The hospital returned to its quiet rhythm, monitors beeping softly, footsteps fading. But something had changed. For a few precious hours, the walls that usually held worry had been filled with wonder. Halloween at C.S. Mott Children's Hospital wasn't about costumes or candy. It was about courage, connection, and the simple truth that joy heals in ways medicine sometimes can't. Because sometimes the bravest superheroes wear hospital gowns. And as we step back into our own worlds of comfort and health, may we remember the kids who fight battles we can't see, and the people who bring them light. Cherish your health, support your local children's hospitals, and never forget, even in the toughest places, kindness can still carve out magic.